We about ready? Check, check. Hello, can you hear me? Is this mic on? Can you guys hear me okay out there? Okay. And it's just me, I can't hear myself. IT's ready. Are we ready, guys? His computer screen's got something on it that... All right, okay, we're good. Okay, staff, are we ready? Okay. Let's call this meeting to order right at 6 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Would the clerk please call roll?
Commissioner Dietrich,
Here.
Commissioner Long, Commissioner Madrid,
Here.
Vice Chair Thomas,
Here.
and Chair Ledoux.
And I am here. Tonight we have the distinguished honor of having one of our past Planning Commission chairs join us, David White. Thank you for coming tonight.
Dave.
Would you like to lead us in the pledge tonight? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, item number 4 on our agenda, presentations. There are none. Item number 5, modifications to the agenda. Are there any modifications to tonight's agenda?
Chair, we will be requesting to continue item 9.3 when we get to that point in the agenda.
Okay, noted. Thank you. Okay, I need a verbal yea or nay for the approval of tonight's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Okay, moving on to item number 6, public comments. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak on any items that are not on tonight's agenda?
No, there are no requests to speak.
Okay, thank you. All right, approval of minutes. Can I ask the Planning Commission for approval of the May 10th, 2023 minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye. Oh, sorry.
Are you opposed?
No.
Chris is not opposed.
He's late.
Okay. Moving on to item number 9, public hearing items. This is the item number 1. I'm sorry, item number 9.1. Could the Deputy Director please introduce this item?
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. The item before you tonight is going to be presented by Associate Planner Fernando Herrera.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the Planning Commission. The project before us is for the proposed Mapes and Sherman Commerce Center. The project is located on the southwest corner of Mapes Road and Sherman Road, adjacent to the city of Paris. The general plan map, land use, and zoning designation for the property is Economic Development Corridor, Northern Gateway. This has been the case since 2013. Prior to this, the zoning of the property was manufacturing service commercial. The proposed project consists of establishing a 277,578 square foot commerce center on 13.3 gross acres. The project proposes 308 auto parking stalls, of which 31 are going to be for electric vehicles. The project also proposes 69 trailer parking spaces and 14 bicycle parking spaces, as well as 36 loading docks. The building will be LEED certified, and the project will propose roof-mounted solar panels. The project is also conditioned and will improve the adjacent streets. So this is a cross-section of Sherman Road and Mapes Road. And here we see a street view of Sherman Road. So the proposed improvements will actually expand to where you see that wall. That's the public right-of-way. So there will be improvements made along that segment. as well as for Mapes Road. So this is an image of Mapes Road looking towards the project. The project is also going to propose enhanced landscaping along the public right-of-way, along Sherman Road and Mapes Road. It meets all of the city's landscaping requirements. Over 190 trees are going to be proposed for the project itself, as well as pedestrian parkways and walkways along the project, and as well as a landscape setback of 25 feet. Here we see the proposed architecture for the Commerce Center. So the applicant has proposed a variety of architectural elements and treatments. They use glass elements as well as wood and metallic elements. There is proposed breakage every 50 feet, and it complies with the city's development code as well as our design standards. And here we see another view from Sherman. So yeah. This is the proposed elevations for the Commerce Center. So this applicant has worked with city staff to ensure that it meets all of our requirements. The project also had to meet the city's good neighbor policies. So the good neighbor policies apply to any project which is over 100,000 square feet. This includes additional outreach to the surrounding property owners to ensure that they know that this project is going to occur. The project was designed to take the surrounding property land uses into consideration. So it actually faces west instead of east, away from the residential properties. The loading dock is also approximately 590 feet away from the residential properties. I must note that there, in the staff report, it did mention 690 feet. That's actually 590. And then it's also 240 feet away from building to building. Let's see. So for the community outreach, the property owners within 300 feet, as well as the residential property owners immediately east of the project were notified. And this is a flyer that the project applicant handed out. In terms of CEQA, the public review period was from May 15th to June 5th. 16 comment letters and emails were received in regards to the project. Mitigation measures, which were adopted for the following sections. It's biological resources, cultural resources, geology, soils, and tribal cultural resources. The project comments consisted predominantly of concerns for roadway conditions, roadway improvements, air quality concerns, as well as the health impacts. Responses to the comments are included in your blue folders for your review. In light of this, staff's recommendation is to adopt a resolution adopting MND and support the supporting documentation and direct staff to file a notice of determination, as well as adopt a resolution approving plot plan number PLN 22-0015, subject to the conditions of approval and the findings and conclusions in the staff report. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff is available, as well as the applicant and the consultant for questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Herrera. Thanks for the presentation. Commissioners, this is our chance to ask any questions we may have of the staff.
I have one.
Go ahead, Chris.
Could you pull up the slide of the aerial of any one of the aerials that shows the houses and the project? So is our master trail plan go at all into this area? Is there any proposed trails in this area at all?
Based on the strict classification, the general plan wouldn't call for a trail, but that's something we can confirm right now.
That was my question.
Joe?
Yes, thank you. In your presentation, you indicated that the truck traffic to Highway 215 would be mostly using Mapes Street. But I'm not sure if Map Street have signal lights at the Highway 74. Is that corner fully improved with signal lights for left turn and right turn?
Commissioner Long, Mapes Street, the traffic would go westbound on Mapes, southbound on Trumbull, and then Trumbull would access 74.
So it's
There's a signal at Trumbull and 74.
Trumbull. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, would trucks be going on Sherman at all to access this property?
No, the trucks are restricted to Mapes, to Trumbull, to Sherman, or Mapes, Trumbull to 74.
Good. Okay. Yeah, Chris.
So that may be on a filed travel plan or whatever for the project, but is there going to be signage on Sherman that prohibits trucks?
We can place signing, or we can have the applicant place signing on their property that restricts the trucks from turning on to Sherman. Sherman is not a truck route, nor will it's not a truck route, so there'll be no trucks put on their exits directing them back to Mapes.
Would that be another condition of approval, COA technically? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a condition that can be added to the
Okay.
project if that's the commission's desire, correct?
Okay, no more questions from us of staff at this time? Okay, so we're gonna open up the public hearing. It is 6:11. Madam Clerk, was the hearing legally noticed?
Yes, it was.
Okay, very good, thank you. And I think we have received correspondence on this issue, right?
Yes, and you should have copies in your blue folders. Mhm.
Great, thank you. Okay, the applicant is here. If you would join us up at the podium, please, state your name.
Good evening. Scott Swanik with Stream Realty Partners. We're the developer on the project. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to Planning Commission for your time and your focus tonight. We've been working on this project for about a year and a half now in concert with staff, and we're extremely excited to be here and present this Class A development to the city of Menifee. Secondly, wanted to thank staff personally. We have several members of our project team here, and then we have a big project team behind us. Staff's been amazingly collaborative throughout the entire process, providing us with very candid feedback that's been incorporated into the project. And again, as Fernando mentioned, the project is in line with the general plan, the vision, the good neighbor policy. And again, we just want to extend huge thank yous to everybody. And if we can address any questions on behalf of the applicant, happy to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Scott. Let me ask you a question. Just at this time, before we get to any other discussion, do you guys agree to all of the current conditions of approval?
We do.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, commissioners, do we have any questions?
Chair, if I may, that condition also included the revised condition that's included in your blue folder as well, correct?
Oh, right, yes, okay. And they got a copy of that as well? Okay,
That's correct.
okay.
And then to respond to Vice Chair Thomas's question regarding trails, the only trails in this area of the city are on-street Class 2 bike lanes.
One technical question can I ask about this? On the amendments here, or it says condition 214, the applicant shall pay the road and bridge fees prior to issuance of building permit, but should the project proponent choose to defer, a written request shall be submitted to the city. So does that mean that's in negotiations right now, that they want to defer it until certificate of occupancy, or why is it worded that way?
Commissioner Thomas, the city is currently working towards establishing an RBBD for this area, a Roads and Bridge Benefit District. It's not formed yet. So in order for us to complete the formation, work with the applicants because they are proceeding ahead of the RBBD, we wanted to give a little bit of flexibility on both ends to allow it to establish.
Okay, that makes sense.
Commissioners, do we have any questions directly for the applicant? No? Okay. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak in the public comment section?
Yes, I do have a few. Up first is Bill Quisenberry.
Okay. Hi, Bill. Thank you. Just so you guys know, if you would like to speak, you have 3 minutes tonight. So go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Bill Quisenberry. I'm a member of LIUNA, that's Labor's International Union, North America, here tonight in support of this project. Pleased to announce that our organization and our membership is teaming up with Stream Realty Partners to build this project, should you approve this, and pass it on to council for final approval. The project's going to enable us to continue our skills needed to build other infrastructure projects. It'll be another opportunity for apprentices that are part of the labor's union to work on this project, to gain their skills and move those forward to other projects as well. The city will be gaining another employment center. From the looks of the map, that was an empty lot. So something's going to be put on there should it be approved, and it's going to provide some local jobs for the residents here in the city of Menifee. I'd also like to state that with union construction trade workers going to work, it's a economic benefit, not just for our members, their families, the local community. We have members here specifically in the city of Menifee through our Riverside local, but also for the fact that we are sustaining our middle class earning wage life. And that includes the fringe benefits of medical, a pension, a good sustainable wage. There are some studies out there at the UC Berkeley Labor Center. They're stating that almost 26% of all workers in California lack health insurance. And, a large portion of that, 50% of all construction workers are on at least one safety net program to meet the needs of their family. That's not the case here if we go to work again. We'll be able to sustain our benefits and to keep on working. So, you could say on a stretch maybe that approving this project puts our members to work, we'll keep our benefits going, and we'll serve the public good, because none of us will have to be on the public dole to sustain our livelihoods. So I ask that you approve the project and go on staff recommendation on the MND and move it forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Do we have any more speakers?
Next up is Jason Baez.
Hi, Jason.
Honorable Commission, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jason Baez, and I'm a proud member of Labor's International Union of North America. I'd like to humbly give you this example. If I owned a store and a customer came in to buy something and returned the next day with a handful of gold nuggets and told me, if I can have your blessing to do a particular thing with the item I bought, every year I'll be back with a handful of gold nuggets for you to divvy up amongst yourself and the community. If I was to slap his hand and tell him to leave my store, I'd either be partially crazy or most likely I'd have a selfish agenda. These fine gentlemen, this applicant who's came into our town, they didn't come with the agenda to come use cheap labor, cut corners, make a quick buck, and take it out the country. These gentlemen are Americans who want to invest in the growth of our country, who want to invest in the quality of life in Menifee. This project will stimulate the local economy. It'll boost sales and local vendors, expansion of those local vendors. It'll draw in more interested vendors, job opportunities for everyone of all different levels, everyone from those who want a lifelong career to those who want a stepping stone job, even those who are new to the field. So many good things, yearly revenue for our city, so much opportunity. Let's receive this blessing from the Lord with gratitude instead of letting it go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason.
Last speaker is Robert Rodine. Oh, sorry, I apologize.
Okay, are there any other folks who wish to speak on this particular item? Okay. So we are going to close the public hearing at this time. It is 6:20. This is our time now as commissioners to discuss the project. Who would like to start? Randy?
I love the project. I just wanted to thank the Orange guys for showing up again, representing. It's always good to see you guys.
I mean, it's another high-quality project coming into town. I appreciate that they're using labor work to form it. Kind of what puts me over the top on this project is the fact that it has long been designated for this area to be this type of project going into this area, right? So even though it is near residential properties, it's always been zoned and designated for this type of project. So I'm generally in favor for it.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
I'm in favor of the project. I like that, not necessarily wonderful that a warehouse is right across from residential, but what they've done to mitigate it is the very large setback, the landscaping, keeping the parking, the car parking, on the residential.
The Sherman side, yeah.
So they've done what they can to mitigate it, and as long as the traffic is limited to Mapes and Trumbull, then I'm okay with it.
Okay. Thank you. Joe?
I was looking at the elevation, and I'm very impressed by the architectural style, self-contained. So all the noise is going to be contained within the buildings or within the area, the internal area. That's excellent. Another thing that I'm very impressed is the landscaping plan. A lot of trees surrounding the whole complex. So it's going to give very comfortable weather, very comfortable breeze, greenery, very fitting into the neighborhood. I was paying attention to the traffic condition, and with the explanation from the department, from the planning department, the street's going to be improved. So that is what I was hoping for, and we got it. So it's a great project for our city. Later on, I'm going to ask the applicant for a rough number of jobs is going to be available during construction, and after construction, available for operational. Thank you, but that's for later. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joe. Yeah, Chris?
I would propose we put the condition that they have the signage at all the exits that the truck route is Mapes and Trumbull only.
Okay. I agree. I agree. For me, I think the building's beautiful. It's designed really nicely. I do also like that the truck parking's on the opposite side of the residential. I do have some concerns. I thought there'd be more people here speaking on this particular item tonight, but my concerns are, one is, my understanding is that Sherman is not currently built out to its ultimate width. And when they do build it out, they're going to be taking out all of those eucalyptus trees along Sherman that are currently in front of all the homes along Sherman. I understand that the trees are within the city's right-of-way. They don't belong to the residents. However, I feel like, I feel like those residents have been able to benefit from the use of those trees. Even though they don't belong to them, they have benefited from the use of those trees in terms of their view and what they're going to be looking at when this project is built. With those trees gone, these people are going to be sitting in their living rooms or driving out of their driveways and staring at a giant CTU building, a nice-looking one. But I don't know if it's quite fair to them to just tear down those trees and build this building without asking for maybe something in return. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Nobody brought it up yet, but I wanted to broach the subject because I feel strongly about that when I saw and read through the program. So does anybody else, first, before we decide on anything, does anybody else agree?
Let's ask staff. So isn't there a tree replacement usually in place when you remove a tree?
Typically, there is a code requirement if there's trees on site, if those have to be removed. Obviously, that wouldn't apply here. We're talking about trees that are currently on the right-of-way, almost on the other side of the street. But it would be up to the Planning Commission's decision if they want to impose any additional conditions.
Yeah, this isn't a traditional taking where we're going in eminent domain and taking property and then having to give some kind of compensation for it. Because the trees are on the right-of-way, we're just going to take them down. And so I think, for me, I would like it if we could maybe ask if the developer would be willing to somehow compensate the residents with maybe a tree or two or three in their own yards, and or when they do their landscaping on the subject site, that maybe we ask them to install more mature trees. They're going to be installing landscaping now, but they're not going to be super mature trees, at least not to the height that these existing trees are. But maybe ask them to install more mature trees on the site to help with the blocking or the view from the houses on Sherman. What do you guys think about that?
I totally support your ideas.
Thanks, Joe.
I could see them, rather than financial compensation, planting a row of trees in the new right-of-way. Now, they're going to build curb and gutter on the project side, and they're going to build full width but no curb and gutter on the other side, right?
Committee member Thomas, no, they're not building full width on the east side of the roadway. They're only building 12 feet beyond the center line. Our typical standard is half width plus 12.
So when I think it was Orlando showed me in our meeting the picture of how the houses are, their walls are already, the front yard's already set back. So they anticipated this. How much is there where the front yards end? Is that where the legal right-of-way starts, or do property owners own some of that dirt in front of their driveways?
I don't have the exact dimensions of where their fencing was placed. The road is kind of built off already west of center line. So the road will be pushed to the east to go center line plus 12, but there is still some distance that's going to remain from the edge of travel way to their existing fencing that is east of the new edge.
So we'll still have dirt right away in front of the driveways to
Correct.
Add, like 15 feet or something to add trees if that's part of what
we would propose that they push those trees to the outside of the edge of right-of-way.
So onto personal property.
You want it on personal property and not existing right-of-way. I'm talking about at build-out, there's still going to be right-of-way.
Typically, you're correct. Typically, there's about 10 feet behind flow line, but we would want those trees to be beyond beyond that flow line plus 6 feet, because typically you have your flow line and then your sidewalk. So that would leave about 4 feet in general from between the back of sidewalk to the edge of property, right away.
And you want it in that 4 feet, or do you want it on private property?
Yeah, we'd rather it be on private, but if it had to be within public right-of-way, it would have to be towards that right-of-way line.
Well, the reason I ask for right-of-way is if it's in the right-of-way, then it's the city's cost to maintain.
No. It's not in the city's cost to maintain within the public right-of-way.
It is the city's cost if it's in the public right-of-way.
No, it's very similar to, these are private trees. Only when we go in and do public landscaping,
Oh, okay.
then it becomes a city's asset and improvements. But very typical to like your own front yard, you own a portion of the, or you're maintaining a portion of the right-of-way with your grass, because there's about anywhere between 3 and 4 feet of grass area or landscaping between the right-of-way and the back of sidewalk.
So who's currently maintaining those eucalyptus trees? Nobody?
Nobody.
Nobody's maintaining. Okay.
Nobody's been maintaining them.
Okay. So I would support if the applicant agreed to replant some trees in that 4-foot right-of-way there.
I would,
He wants them on private property.
yeah, I would ask the applicant to work with the property owners to see if they want the trees, if they want trees. Because that way the homeowner, we're not just forcing something on the homeowner that they may not want. So it'd be best, if possible, to put them outside of the right-of-way if the private property owners desire those trees. If they don't have room on their right-of-way, then last case scenario is we put it within that 4 feet, but that's not ideal, because when we come in and put sidewalks in and streets, we don't know the profile of the roadway. We could start to undermine roots and whatnot of the tree.
Thank you. Do you guys have any comment on that?
Yeah, I had concerns when my one-on-one meeting with staff about the loss of these trees and the screening that they would offer for the building. Obviously well aware that there is a landscaping project and they will be putting trees in on their property, but they're not going to be fully mature for several years, right?
Time,
so
yeah.
there's going to be a lot of time without that screening. So I would be generally in favor of offering to the private owners the option of having, a tree replanted in place if they desire it.
Thank you.
I agree with Commissioner Diedrich.
All right. Hearing that, do you guys have any, did you reach out to the residents along Sherman and talk to them about this?
Excuse me, Chair.
The community outreach.
My apologies. Just, will you please reopen the public hearing
Okay.
so that you may ask the applicant all the questions, and as well as Commissioner Long's questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
So it is 6:32. Let's go ahead and reopen the public hearing. And then now we can proceed. Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry about that.
Hi, Nick Kruder, Stream Realty Partners.
Nick.
So Chet and I addressed this issue. Can you pull up the street section, Fernando, that you had in the PowerPoint? I think that'll help out a lot. So those trees fall anywhere between 14 and 18 feet from the center line. If you add in there the extra lane, which is another 12 feet, and then you add in there the parkway, there's not a whole lot of room to put the trees over there. So we've been working on this issue for quite some time. We do have to rebuild all of those residents' driveways. So that is part of the proposed plan. We actually went and we pulled the city's records to make sure those trees weren't disturbing any of the utilities down there. We don't think they are. So I think what we would propose is to work with the residents, and if they want a few trees on their yard, we'd be open to that.
That makes me happy. I appreciate that. Has anyone talked to any of the residents on the street about the trees being removed and or their driveways maybe needing some work?
We sent the community outreach. Nobody responded to that. That had our personal contact info on it.
Have you knocked on their doors, like
No, not yet.
specifically gone to these homes? So none of these people know what's about to happen to them, really.
Commissioner Ledoux, I brought this up in the meeting. I was concerned that when tractors start just mowing them down, there's going to be problems.
Yeah.
There needs to be communication with each and every property owner.
I strongly suggest that you guys are knocking on their doors and telling them what's gonna go down, because they don't know that they're going to lose all those trees. they know that they're going to be staring at a big building, right? They don't know that they're going to be staring at it without their eucalyptus trees there. And I didn't know until just right now that you were also going to have to do some work on the private driveways there at some point, and so I'm sure they don't know either. So that's probably something that needs to be taken care of.
Just a point of clarification, it's not the private driveway. We're not entering private property. The driveways themselves
That connect to
go
the street.
into the public.
Gotcha.
So I just wanted, just a point of clarification, but you're absolutely correct that there will be some outreach effort saying, hey, we're going to be making roadway improvements in front of your parcel, which will include, the driveway specifications into the roadway.
Into
So it'll
Sherman.
be into Sherman, correct.
Okay. And they're probably going to want to know your construction timeline and how that's going to affect their ingress and egress to their property as well, right?
Yes.
So that's all going to take place. Okay.
Yes.
And so the applicant is willing to work with the residents and specifically offer them to put trees on their private property if they would like.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. Joe?
Yes, I have a question, a general question for the applicant. As I had stated before, do you have a rough estimate of number of jobs during construction and jobs after construction, operational jobs? I see a lot of technicians being here lobbying for the job, so it's the job we are looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So we estimate during construction there should be around 250 to 300 jobs generated during construction alone. And then based on industry standard estimates, we estimate permanent jobs should be roughly 300 new jobs as well from the project.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right, it's 6:36. Let's close the public hearing and bring it back. Thank you very much for addressing our concerns and questions. So there are 2 resolutions for adoption. We need to add in the fact that, so how do we phrase that, or how do we word that where we're asking them to quote unquote work with the residents to install trees? If
You can make a motion to adopt, I'll just read it out and add it to you. You can make a motion to adopt a resolution adopting a mitigated negative declaration based on the findings incorporated in the initial study and the conclusion that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment, and direct staff to file a notice of determination. And adopt a resolution approving plot plan number PLN 22-0015, subject to the attached conditions of approval, which includes the requirement that the applicant work with the private property owners facing Sherman regarding the trees. And based upon the findings and conclusions incorporated in the staff report, as well as condition 102, the errata to condition 102, and the errata to condition 214 in your blue folders.
Do we need to add the signs?
Oh,
Yeah,
and
the
the signs
signage.
on Sherman, that no trucks will be able to use Sherman.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I second that.
Okay. Thank you, Ty. Okay, well, that went fast. With that passes 5-0. Thank you very much. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck. My understanding is that we were the final say. This does not go to city council, correct? So good luck on the project. Please do reach out to those residents. It's going to be hugely important. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll give you 30 seconds to, if you don't want to stay and watch the rest of the meeting.
Whoa, they didn't come to see us? No.
So you guys are here for 9.3, the Valley Boulevard widening. So we're going to continue that into the next meeting. If you would like, we can open, when we get to that item, we can open up a public hearing and you could make a comment, or you can come back to the meeting where we add it to the next agenda. Is it the 28th? Okay. It is the 28th. So you can stay tonight and make your comment, but we won't be discussing it, or you can come back on the 28th and make your comments at that time and listen to the discussion then. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Same time, same bat place. 28th, right here. We'll bring some cookies for you too. We'll bring some milk. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sick that day. I sure know how to clear a room. Okay, item 9.2, Normandy Road pedestrian improvements, MND for the capital improvement project 2208. Could the deputy director please introduce this item?
Thank you. The following item is going to be presented by Diego Guillen. He's an associate planner with the engineering department, specifically in the CIP division. So I believe this is Diego's first presentation, so thank you for presenting, Diego.
Good luck.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Ledoux and Planning Commission members. My name is Diego Guillen. I am the PM for this project, and I have a presentation for you. So this is for the approval of the ISMND for our CIP project 2208 Normandy Road pedestrian improvements. There we go. The project location. This project is on the west side of the city. It straddles, let's see, District 1 and 2. I believe that north portion of Normandy is actually District 1. And the project is along Normandy Road, between La Ladera Road and Brea Road. That small blue area that you're seeing, that's actually what triggered the ISMND. That's jurisdictional waters. We're encroaching on about 500 square feet. And we'll be improving about 1,400 linear feet of the pedestrian improvements, which includes the connectivity from the west side to the east side along the pedestrian path of travel, which is about a 10-foot wide shoulder. We'll also be installing about 60 linear feet of concrete curb and pavement striping that will be delineated to protect the pedestrians. And then also the second, I guess, portion of this project is we're going to be improving, which is in that blue jurisdictional waters, is the head wall, concrete head wall, and about 5-6 pipes of varying size that are CMP, corrugated metal pipe, and we're going to be extending about 4 feet. And it also include pedestrian railing along the head wall. Let's see, CEQA requires decision-making body to consider and adopt the ISMND, and the Menifee Municipal Code gives Planning Commission authority to adopt the CEQA documents. And the environmental determination is the ISMND, I guess I'll just read it. Initial study mitigation native declaration, the ISMND was prepared pursuant to CEQA for this project. And the ISMND states that the project will not have significant effect environmental with incorporation of the specific mitigations, which include pre-construction survey for the burrowing owl, the nesting bird, and then also the purchase of about 0.1 acres of mitigation credits through the Skunk Hollow Mitigation Bank. And the recommendation is to adopt the resolution for the ISMND for CIP 2208 Normandy Road pedestrian improvements based on the findings incorporated in the initial study and the conclusion that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment. Any questions?
Diego, great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice presentation. This is an important project for me because this is in my neighborhood, as well as Michael back there. Drive along this road all the time. Councilman Carwin and I live in the same neighborhood. We both drive along this road. We both see a lot of kids using this road. We see a lot of people on bikes, on walks with their dogs. A lot of people on this road. It's going to be a very important improvement project for our city. Very well needed. Do we have any questions for staff at this time? Ben?
Do we know the anticipated completion date for this project?
Okay, yes, we are actually phasing this project into two portions. There's two portions. There's one, the connectivity of the path of travel and the drainage. We are doing phase one. That will be awarded, I believe, next council meeting. And once we have our environmental documents approved, then we'll do the second portion, which would be in the jurisdictional waters, which includes the head wall and storm drain and all that. So,
Let me help clarify some of the question there. So this project started, we actually put it out to bid originally about a year ago. When we started the construction, we did a pre-biological survey and we identified the wetlands area. So that's where we had to step back, reject the bids from the previous contract, and then go through this effort to get the correct environmental and permitting. So time is of the essence. We've been trying to get this complete prior to the schools opening in mid-August. So as part of that, we're trying to do a dual approach. We've came up with a plan that we can get the walkway with the width that we needed, but we ended up having to shrink the roadway width just a little bit to make it work until we get the permitting in place. We still need the head wall to protect the roadway, but that's going to have to come at a future date because we're still working through all the environmental process. And once we get the environmental process, we have to go to all the regulatory agencies and get the permits. And then the last thing, we have to purchase mitigation bank credits. So that's a very long process. So what we're looking at this year is trying to achieve the widening so we can make sure that it's open for the opening of that new school in AMR. And then we'll come back at a future year when we have secured all the permits and the mitigation credits to put the head wall in for that project.
Great. I'm just very happy to hear that the pathway, the walkway will be completed before the school year starts.
Yeah, and the second part, sorry, I forgot to mention, we would do that in summer as well. Obviously, we have to because of the jurisdictional waters and the flood, but we'll time it to where when we have to go in there and build that head wall, it will be when school's out of session.
Perfect. Thank you.
That was actually going to be my follow-up question. Was there a contingency if we can't finish by the time school starts?
We're doing everything we can. That's why we accelerated this project. We're awarding at the June 21st meeting to get the contractor out there. The first phase is pretty straightforward. It's just kind of gutting the road section and paving and a little bit on both sides of the road and then restriping it. So it's not a significantly long project, but there's always the unknown as if there's a utility or something that was in the way that might prevent us to happen. We're hopeful that we did all of our due diligence and that we have a clear path that we can go in there and pave the widening and get it done before mid-August when the school opens. So that gives us a little bit over a month to make that happen.
Okay. And what's the earliest you could start, do you think?
Typically, we take it to council on June 21st. It usually takes us at least that first week to get all the documents signed, set a pre-job meeting, and then we ask the contractor to start immediately after. So it's probably realistically going to be right around the first week of July or right after that for them to get started.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. This portion of Normandy is so close to a major residential area. So we see a lot of pedestrian traffic, daily exercise. So your project is just perfect. It's going to help a lot of folks. And as you can see, many of us are within the same neighborhood. So I really appreciate your taking on this project and get it done early if possible. Yes, I would like to say thank you very much.
Yeah, I think Diego, he's been working very hard on this project. We thought it would be a pretty straightforward project and move right in, but unfortunately there was a little challenge, and he's done a wonderful job of working through that. It's a little bit more, took a little bit more time than we anticipated.
Nothing's easy around here, but good job, Diego.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
Yeah, I agree. Great design, Diego. You said it all in your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're going to open a public hearing on this item. It's 6:49. Was the, Madam Clerk, was the hearing legally noticed?
Yes, it was.
Fantastic, thank you. And have we received any correspondence?
No, we have not.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments, requests to
No,
speak?
there are no requests to speak.
Okay. Anybody else in the audience that would like to speak? Okay, hopefully 1 minute went by and it's 6:50. We're going to close the public hearing at 6:50. Do we have any additional discussion amongst ourselves on this? I think we're all excited about this one. This one's big. Okay. So there's one resolution for adoption. I would like to motion to approve the staff's recommendations.
Second.
All right, awesome. That passes 5-0. Good luck on that. Good luck on getting that done. Thank you. And I'll be driving by every day. So if you're out there, wave. Okay, we're going to continue item 9.3. Do we need to say anything legally to do that?
Yes, Chair, you'll need to motion to continue this item to a date specific, and that will be June 28th, 2023.
Okay, I so move.
Second.
Okay, that's passed successfully. We'll see that in 2 weeks. Okay, moving on to item number 10, discussion items. This is item number 10.1. Could the Deputy Director please introduce this item?
Thank you, Chair. You may recall that this item was scheduled at a previous Planning Commission meeting that was back in May 10th. And there was a need to continue the item, so we're back. I think we have a plan to move forward. So I'll have Associate Planner Brandon Cleary present for you guys today.
Good evening, Chair Ledoux and Commissioners. The project before you is Banner Park Minor Condition Change for Track 32102, PLN 23-0074. The project itself is located on the north corner of Dominigoni Road and Lindenberger Road. And to provide a little background, this tract was approved in 2005 for a 277-unit subdivision. After a substantial conformance was approved, that number was reduced to 256 units, for which today currently 204 are constructed. The first permits were issued on July 9th, 2021. The proposed project proposes to modify condition of approval number 198, which discusses public improvement requirements, and condition of approval number 271, which discusses city park installation requirements for tract map 32102 Banner Park to help facilitate Pulte Homes construction timeline and the need for public facilities to be open in a timely manner. For the modification to condition of approval 271 for the park timing, the applicant requests 7 additional occupancies with a deposit of $1 million cash to guarantee park completion, and an additional 5 occupancies upon park completion, which is anticipated to be July 31st of this year, and the installation of new security fencing for public safety, which is indicated by the red line on the conceptual landscaping plan shown. The city requested a 5-foot-tall black chain link fence along Dominigoni and Lindenberger roads to prevent anyone from interacting with traffic that are using the park. Additionally, this style of fencing is currently used in various other city parks. And this is a picture of the progress at the park taken yesterday. For the language modifications to condition 271 itself, a little background. The condition does require that prior to the 200th permit occupancy within the tract, the park needs to be complete and open to the public. It also gives the community services director the ability to defer the installation up to 80% of the total units, or 204 out of the 256. So they would get an additional 4 units. And right now, as mentioned earlier, there is 204 units currently occupied. This language proposes to modify it to include the 7 occupancies with the $1 million cash deposit, along with the 5 occupancies for when the park and the fencing is installed. Total, they would get an additional 22 units, up to 226 out of the 256 units with this condition modification and the one I'll be mentioning in a minute. For the modification to condition of approval 198, the applicant requests 5 additional occupancies upon completion of missing improvements, including sidewalks, curb, gutter, pavement, storm drain facilities, and wet utilities on Falcon Hill Drive and Briggs Road, which are indicated by the 2 red ovals. The deferral of the Lindenberger storm drain crossing until construction of track 37671 on the south side of Dom Nagoni, which is also shown on the map, along with the red line indicating where the storm drain is located. The applicant will be posting a cash deposit to guarantee completion of the storm drain crossing.
Can I ask a quick question about that storm drain crossing on Lindenberger? The red line, it's actually crossing Dom Nagoni. Is the underground already in there for on Dom Nagoni, or are they gonna have to tear up Dom Nagoni to put it in?
Vice Chair Thomas, the storm drain is currently about halfway through the intersection. Where they got halfway and they found some challenges with existing utilities. I believe Southern Cal Gas or Southern Cal Edison utility trench lines. The storm drain line truly serves the development to the south as it develops out. So what the applicant has done is they're working towards a redesign of that last half of the roadway, and they will construct it as part of that southern tract to serve it. So that's the request from the developers, just to defer it until that southern tract gets developed, and they have the time to redesign it, work with the various utility companies to make sure that it works.
And to further clarify, the portion of the storm drain that's not currently there is not needed for this current track to operate. And for the language, the specific language modifying condition 198, this condition as existing requires the public improvements to be installed prior to 80% of the units being occupied. As of right now, they are at their 80% mark. The modifications in red will allow 10 additional occupancies, 5 for the completion of the missing segments along Falcon Hill and Briggs Road, the deferral of the storm drain crossing, and an additional 5 units for the remediation of a borrow site located north of Banner Park, to be completed, inspected by the city, along with the completion of all on-site and off-site landscaping except for specific landscape segments along Briggs Road, as those need to wait until the road is complete. The condition of approval 271 for the park construction timing did go to Parks, Recs, and Trails Commission on May 4th, in which they recommended approval. Staff's recommendation is to approve minor track condition modification for track 32102 Banner Park, condition of approval numbers 198 and 271 related to park and public improvement construction timing. And this concludes staff presentation. We are available for any additional questions.
All right, great. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate the presentation. Do we have any questions of the staff at this point?
Yes.
Okay, Joe.
Just a general question. You're asking for 5 additional occupancies, the threshold. How long would it take in terms of time instead of in terms of occupancy.
Are you asking if the homes are ready to occupy now? Or how long will it take to finish the park
To
construction?
finish the park, yes.
The park should be completed by the end of July. Those additional 5 occupancies would be granted once the applicant provided the $1 million cash deposit to secure that the improvements will be complete.
Oh, so it's...
And the homes are built,
Yes.
so they're ready to occupy.
So July is the month.
Correct.
Oh, perfect.
For the park.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
No more questions for staff? Okay. All right, is the applicant here? Okay, would you join us at the podium, please? State your name.
Good evening, Chair and Honorable Commissioners. My name is Darren Warren. I'm a Vice President of Land at Pulte Homes, and I just want to express my thanks for hearing our request. We've had some challenges, as it relates to some of the timing and on getting our plans processed and going through multiple agencies, and it has taken a little bit more time than anticipated. I want to especially thank staff for, acknowledging the challenges that we've had and working very closely with us to have a reasonable dialogue and work together to come to a solution. So with that, I'd like to open to any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do you, as the applicant, agree to all of the conditions of approval?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for the applicant? Nope. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak on this item?
No, there are no requests to speak.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have any additional comments or discussion on our end? Nope. Okay. Moving along. So we do need a motion then and a second to approve the minor track condition modification for track 32-102 Banner Park condition of approval number 198 and 271 related to the park and public improvement construction timing. This was an electronic vote.
So moved.
Thank you, Randy. I'll second. Okay, great. Thank you. That passes 5-0. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to item number 11, Community Development Director comments. Does our Community Development Director have some comments for us tonight?
Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. I just wanted to announce a couple of new business openings that have occurred over the last couple of weeks. The Cafe Mercado opened in the Menifee Town Center on the east side of the freeway in the Ralph Center there. And then Casa Jimenez replaced Provechos in Cherry Hills Plaza. Thank you. Those are my updates for now.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
Apparently there's nothing else. We have Commissioner reports and committee activities. Do we have any activities to report or meetings that we've been to? Okay. All right, item 13, future agenda requests from Planning Commission. Does the commission have any future agenda items?
Sarah, welcome back. Good to see you.
Okay, 7:04, meeting's adjourned. Just give an adequate time.